if that feels good. Close your eyes. And how about we all exhale together? Inhale. And then just sigh it out. Feel your sit bones grounding into the mat. Lengthen your spine. Lift your shoulders up and then roll them back and down. Hands can rest on your knees or your lap. Lengthen the back of your neck. Lift through the crown of your head. And see if you can begin to bring your attention to the present moment on the mat. As thoughts begin to trickle in and out of your mind, use your breath as your anchor to stay in the present moment. Noticing the cool air coming in through your nose and the warm breath leaving your nose on your exhale. Without judgment, notice the quality of your breath. Are you able to take breaths right now that are long and full, or does it feel a little bit like a struggle? See if you can begin to lengthen your inhale and lengthen your exhale. Feel free to sigh it out. And relax your abdominal muscles so when you breathe in, you feel that expansion across your belly area, across your ribs, across your collarbone. And then you feel a gentle contraction as you exhale. Allowing your full torso to feel the inhale and the exhale. And take a moment to begin to notice the pause between the inhale and the exhale and the inhale. That moment of suspension before you change directions in your breath. And we'll begin a pranayama that is called echo exhalation. All that means is that you do an extra exhale. So we will breathe in, pause, breathe out, pause, and then we'll breathe out one more time. And what that does is it empties out your lungs so that you can take a fuller inhale. So everyone exhale together. Inhale, nice and long and full. Pause, exhale, pause, and then exhale one more time, getting out all that stale breath. And you'll notice your tummy becoming more concave. And then inhale, pause, exhale, pause, exhale one more time. One more time together, inhale, pause, exhale, pause, exhale one more time. Now try this on your own, since the pace of our breath is going to vary between individuals, so do it in a way that's comfortable for you. Just a few rounds. And when you're ready, begin to open your eyes. Bringing some movement in sync with our breath. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, arms down. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, arms down. One last time, inhale, arms up. Exhale, this time bring your hands to heart center. And take a moment to make an intention for your class this evening. Or it could be a prayer, or it could just be a moment of gratitude, whatever resonates with you in this moment. When you're ready, hands on your lap. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, twist to one side. We'll be here for a couple breaths. Gazes over your back shoulder. And on your next exhale, return to the front. And then inhale, arms up. And then on your exhale, twist to the other side. Just a gentle twist, just beginning to wake up our spines. Gaze over your back shoulders. On your next exhale, return to the front. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, lean to one side, just for a nice side stretch. Be sure that your hips remain grounded into the mat, so you're not lifting up one hip. Roll that top shoulder back a little bit. Your gaze can be up or down, keeping that neck nice and relaxed so you don't tense it up. And then come up, and then switch sides. Grounding your hip bones down into the mat. Keeping your neck nice and relaxed. And then from here, instead of coming up, arch your back. So round your back as you go to the other side. So we're doing a little bit of a flow here. And then round or arch your back. Come to the other side. And then just on your own, do this little flow in a way that feels good in your body. So that might mean that you pause when you're in side stretch, and maybe you do some shoulder rolls with your arm. You may be back here, some of you may be here. You might find a spot that you want to linger and massage it out. So we're all going to be on different sides right now. You can even close your eyes, just exploring that. You can stay here, or you can come up on your knees so that one knee is bent and the other leg is straight. So now you're doing a full body side stretch. And then this could be a flow where you could just stay here or round your back. And then as you come to the other side, bend that knee and straighten the other leg. And if this doesn't feel good in your body right now, just feel free to go back to the seated version. Just beginning to bring movement into our full body. And then when you're ready, meet me in tabletop. And do a couple cat-cows on your own, syncing up your breath, your inhale, as your belly drops and your tailbone lifts. And then beginning your exhale as you drop your chin, lift your navel to your spine, and drop your tailbone. See if you can make your movement last the entire length of your inhale and your exhale. Beginning to explore that union between body and breath. And how beautifully they work together when we manage to sync them up. Return to tabletop. Walk your hands forward just a little bit, so your hands are no longer on your shoulders. And hinge your hips forward and begin to roll your hips to one side and then to the other side, just beginning to wake up our hips. And just like with the side stretches we did, we're all going to be in a different spot here. So this is a moment you can close your eyes and really tune into how your hips are feeling right now. And if you find a spot that feels particularly yummy, just hang out there and do micro movements, kind of kneading it out. Some of you may want to do full body, full circles, I should say. You may want to pause in child's pose. You may want to change directions if you are doing circles. And once your hips feel pretty warmed up, walk your hands back under your shoulders, and then come back and sit on your heels. And thunderbolt. And then come up, so tuck your toes. And this can be fairly intense and not that comfortable for most of us, but it is good for our feet and for the fascia, the connective tissues under our feet. It helps prevent plantar fasciitis. And so it's always good to have a distraction when you're doing this. So pick your hands out front, and we're going to warm up the wrist while we're warming up our feet. So your arms are in front of you. Make fists with your hands, and then allow your fist to drop forward. So your fist is pointing toward the mat, and you should feel a nice stretch on the top of your wrist. Nothing too crazy, just enough until you find that first edge. And breathe through it. And then turn your fist in toward each other. So you're rotating your wrist out when you do that. And at any point, if your feet are feeling uncomfortable, feel free to release your feet, coming on your heels. And then turn your fist away from each other. And then come back to neutral. And then release, maybe shake it out. Getting our wrists ready for some flow. Just roll your hands in one direction and then change directions. Getting everything warmed up. And I'm moving just so you can see me better, but you can stay where you are. And then begin to do warming up the shoulders. So roll your shoulders in one direction and then the other. And then stay where you are. Clasp your hands behind you. And then puff out your chest for our first back bend. And then on your next exhale, fold forward and allow your hands to come up. And then you can, if it feels comfortable, you can rest your forehead on the mat and then lift your hips, allowing gravity to pull your arms back for a nice shoulder stretch. Some of you may also feel a nice stretch on the back of your neck. This is a modified version of rabbit. And when you feel ready, release. And then maybe you shake everything out. Place your hands on the mat. Tuck your toes. Coming into the first dog of the day. Bend one knee. Stretch out the calf and the Achilles tendon on the other leg. Stay here for a couple breaths. And then bend the other knee, straighten the other leg. Don't worry if your heels don't make it all the way to the mat. Sometimes you'll notice that your heels begin to touch the mat after several rounds of down dog. So it's just part of our muscle fibers lengthening and warming up. Don't feel like you need to force that. Bend both knees, coming into full expression of down dog. Everyone breathe in here and then sigh it out. And then walk or tippy toe, your feet to the front of the mat. Find a good bend to your knees. Clasp your hands behind you. Folding forward again, similar to what we did in rabbit pose. But something about hanging like this gives a slightly different area of our shoulders, so it's not the exact same stretch. One more breath in. And then on your exhale, release your hands and roll up with your knees bent. One vertebra at a time. Shoulders and head come up last to mountain pose. Check in with your posture. Make sure you're not rolling in or out, forward or back. Find your center. And then inhale, arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, right leg back, knee down. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, arms down. Inhale, plank. Exhale, knees, chest, chin. Inhale, cobra. Exhale, head to the floor. Inhale, plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. Walk out your dog again if that feels good. And then inhale that right leg up. Exhale, bring it through. Left knee down. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, arms down. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, hands to heart center. Check in with your breath. If Ujjayi breathing is part of your practice, perhaps you've already been using it, but just a reminder, it's wonderful to apply Ujjayi breathing during vinyasa flow. So if you're not familiar with that, it's this restriction on the back of your throat so your breath becomes audible. So take a moment and find your Ujjayi pranayama. It sounds a little bit like a Darth Vader voice, or like an ocean waves. And then on your next inhale, arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, left leg back, knee down. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, arms down. Inhale, right leg back, your plank. Exhale, knees, chest, chin, or go through chaturanga. Inhale, lower high cobra. Exhale, head down. Inhale, plank. Exhale, downward facing dog. Walk out your dog. Inhale that left leg up. Exhale, bring it through. Right knee down. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, arms down. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, hands at heart center. Now we're going to do Surya Namaskar B. So we begin with our hands in Samasthiti. So just look like this. Inhale, chair. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, step or hop your feet back. So we're in plank, and then exhale, go through a chaturanga dandasana, up to up dog, or you can do cobra if you like. And then exhale, coming into downward facing dog. Inhale that right leg up. Exhale, bring it through. Place that left foot down at a 45-degree angle. Coming up to warrior one. So the right leg is forward, the left leg is back. And then on your next exhale, forward fold, bring that right leg back. Come down through chaturanga dandasana. Cobra up dog. Back to downward facing dog. And then inhale that left leg up. Bring it through. Place that right foot at a 45-degree angle. Coming up to warrior one on the other side. Catching your breath. And then on your next exhale, forward fold. Coming through chaturanga dandasana. Cobra up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. We'll stay here for 5 breaths. That's the Ashtanga tradition. The last down dog of the salutations, we take long, 5 full deep breaths. 2, 3, 4, and 5. Maybe on the 5th one, just side out. Or feel free to use lion's breath. And then you can either walk your feet to the front or come on your tippy toes and then bend your knees. Your gaze is front and center of your hands. And then see if you can hop to the front of the mat. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, chair. And then exhale, back to Samasthiti. Equal standing posture. Catch your breath. Our body should be good and warmed up now, so we'll do some standing sequences. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, bring that right leg back. And rise up to high lunge. Check and make sure that your hips are square to the front of the mat. And then on your exhale, pivot that right foot coming into warrior 2. First warrior 2 of the day, so check and make sure that your knee is stacked over your ankle, your shoulders are stacked over your hips, gaze is over your left hand. Return to your Ujjayi breath. And then reach toward the left, palm up, coming into reverse warrior. Check your top shoulder, see if you can rotate from your navel so that top shoulder comes back just a little bit. On your next exhale, rainbow those arms, coming into runner's lunge. And then you can either, we're all going to meet up in down dog. So feel free to go to down dog or do a vinyasa. Vinyasa meaning chaturanga, up dog, down dog. So we're all back in down dog. Breathe in and side out. Inhale that right leg up. Bend that knee, flex the foot. Waken up the ankles, roll your ankle one direction. Roll your ankle the other direction. Inhale, straighten that leg, square up your hips. Bring it forward. Rising up to high lunge on the other side. Check in with your breath. If you're feeling out of breath, see if you can make your exhale a little bit longer to bring things back into equilibrium. So you may want to breathe in on the count of 3 and breathe out on the count of 4 or 5. Pivot that back foot, coming into warrior 2 on the other side. First warrior 2 on this side. So check in, knee over ankle, shoulders over hips, gaze over the right hand. Ujjayi breath. Reach to the right, palm up, come back for reverse warrior. Couple breaths here. And then on your exhale, rainbow those arms around. Bring that right leg back. Go to down dog or go through vinyasa. All of us meeting back in downward facing dog. Inhale that left leg up, bend the knee, flex the foot. Roll your ankle one direction. Roll your ankle the other direction. Inhale, straighten that leg. Exhale, bring it through. Coming back into high lunge. From here, feel free to add a back bend. So reach up before you go back, keeping that length in your spine. That'll protect your spine. And then from there, keep that back bend and bring your hands behind you. Clasp your hands. And then with control, keep that back bend if you can. Bend that right leg. You're shifting your weight into your left leg, rising into warrior three. If you lose your balance, just come back. Don't be hard on yourself. On your next exhale, bend that left knee again, placing that right foot down, coming back. So we're doing a reverse into high lunge. Release those arms. And then open to warrior two. So second time in warrior two on the right side. So if you want, see if you can go a little bit deeper. So maybe bend that left knee a little bit more. Or not. But if you feel warmed up and up for it, you can challenge yourself a little bit more that way. And then inhale, reach to the left. Lower that left arm down on your left leg, coming into side angle or extended side angle. Some of you may want to place your hand on the floor. So your version of side angle. One more breath. On your exhale, pivot that back foot coming into runner's lunge. Meet in down dog or take a vinyasa. Once we're all back in down dog, inhale that right leg up. Exhale, bring nose and knee together. So on your very tippy toes of your left foot, hold. On your next inhale, straighten that right leg again. And then exhale, bring it through. Coming to high lunge on the left. Bringing your arms behind you into a back bend. You can stay here or shift your weight forward with control, coming into warrior three. And these are challenging arms, so don't feel like you have to use these arms. You can still do high lunge to warrior three to high lunge without these arms. Coming back to high lunge, releasing those arms, and then opening to warrior two. Going a little deeper this time. Catch your breath. See if you can get your inhale and your exhale equal. Reach to the right, lower that forearm on your thigh, coming to your version of side angle. Check and see if you can rotate from the navel so that top shoulder comes back a little bit more. On your next exhale, pivot that back foot, coming into runner's lunge. And then go through vinyasa, or feel free to go just meet us at down dog. In down dog, inhale that left leg up. Exhale, knee to nose. Hold. You'll be on your very tippy toes of your right foot. On your next inhale, straighten that leg back. Exhale, bring it through. Now, instead of going into high lunge here, lower that back foot at a 45-degree angle, coming into warrior one. So this is our second warrior one. Be sure that you're not rolling in on that right foot. From here, we'll do that arm clasp again, if that feels good on your back. Coming into a warrior one with a back bend. And then fold forward, keeping that left leg bent, coming into humble warrior. You're welcome to keep your arms here, or if it just doesn't feel comfortable, feel free to take your elbows or just bring them forward. You can stay here or begin to straighten that left leg, coming into pyramid pose. If pyramid pose is uncomfortable for you, for your hamstrings, you could always grab a couple blocks. You could also keep a straight back. Don't feel like you need to fold. You could also bend that left leg a little bit. Don't feel like that left leg needs to stay straight. And then see if you can pull your left hip crease back a little bit. Squaring off your hips a little bit more. One more breath. Bend your left leg so that you're shifting your weight in that left leg, coming into standing split. So lifting that right leg up into the air. Going as high as feels comfortable for you. Some of you may enjoy opening up that right hip. And you can get your leg up a little higher, but just whichever way your body's feeling it today. And then begin to lift your torso up. Bend that left knee, bring that right leg forward, and see if you can bring that right leg through so that your knee is up in front of you. And then take hold of your ankle and bring your arm up for a nice quad stretch. So kick your thigh forward and tuck your tailbone so you're feeling a nice stretch in your quad. You can stay here. This is a great stretch and balance pose just right here. Or if you like, you can kick that leg back, coming into dancer pose. Your hips stay square to the floor, or to the front of the mat, excuse me. Kicking that right foot into your right hand. When you're ready, release, shake it out. Take a moment if you're like me, I'm a sweater. You need to wipe your sweat, get a sip of water before we go to the other side. Returning to mountain pose. Bringing that left leg back, 45-degree angle, coming into warrior one on the other side. Arms up. Square off those hips. Arms are your choice, but if you'd like more of a challenge, clasp your hands behind you, adding a back bend. And then on your next exhale, fold forward, keeping that right leg bent for a humble warrior. Keep your eyes open here, because this is actually a balance pose. Find a drishti, which is probably a spot on your mat. You can stay here in humble warrior, or you can begin to straighten that right leg, coming into pyramid pose. You can keep your arms where they are, or if you need blocks, just like on the other side, you can find your props. This is kind of an intense hamstring stretch, so do it safely, finding your personal edge. This side may be different from the left side, and that's okay. It's very common, actually, for one side to be tighter or more flexible than the other in various body parts. One more breath. And then on your next exhale, bend that right leg. Placing both hands on the floor in front of you, lifting that left leg up for standing split. Porting that foot, flexing that foot, opening up the hip, squaring off the hip. Really, it's up to you what you'd like right now. Because really, it's about the stretch on the back of the right leg. And then bending that right leg, bringing that left leg through so that your left knee is up. Taking hold of the top of your left foot, drawing that knee down, tucking the tailbone so you feel your quad muscle engage. Bringing your right arm up, finding the drishti. You're welcome to stay here, or perhaps you'd like to try out dancer pose, keeping your hips square to the front of your mat, tipping your torso forward, kicking your foot back into your left hand. Finding a new drishti. When you're ready, coming up, releasing that foot, shaking it out. Coming back into mountain pose. Starting to wind down. Inhale, arms up. Exhale, forward fold. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, bring that right leg back. And then the left leg back from plank. Coming into down dog from there. You're welcome to stay here in down dog. Down dog can be a nice resting pose. So if you're at the point where you feel like you just need to collect your breath, just stay in down dog. If you like a little bit more of a challenge, you can lower your forearms coming into dolphin. A few more breaths here. Rising back to down dog. Inhale that right leg up. Bend that knee, flex that foot. We're going to begin to open up the hips here. So take a moment to do some rolls with your right leg, one direction and the other. And then perhaps open up your hip. So your shoulders are still square in down dog position. All that's changed is that instead of your hips being square, it's opened up. Feel free to stay here, or if you like, you can begin to shift your weight to your left hand, bend that left knee as you begin to bring that right leg back, coming into wild thing. And then from there, wherever you're at, whether you were in three-legged dog or wild thing, come into side plank. So the right leg is up, you're facing the right side of your mat. Be sure you're not sinking in your abdomen. Imagine someone's pulling your waist up. And then lower the right hand down as you pivot, bringing that right foot forward for runner's lunge. Lower that left knee, and then come back for runner's stretch. So straighten that right leg, flex that right foot. We've warmed up the hamstrings, but even still, don't push it if you feel like you need a couple blocks on both sides. And you can also keep a straight spine. You can also bend that right knee a little bit. And if your hamstrings are fairly loose, you can walk your hands forward, hinge at your hips, and then fold. One more breath in. And then on your exhale, bring that right leg back so you're in table. Walk your hands forward a little bit and meet back in plank. And then come into down dog. From down dog, Release your right hand and see if you can take hold of your left, anywhere in your left leg. So it could be your left inner calf. It could be your left inner ankle. Just enjoy that nice stretch on your left side. And then release, coming back to downward facing dog. And then release that left arm, reaching towards your right inner calf or ankle. So you're doing a little bit of a crisscross here. Feel that nice stretch on your right side body. And then release, coming to down dog. And then shift your weight to your right leg, bring that left leg up. Bend your knee, flex your foot, and then do some hip rolls in one direction, and then the other direction. And then open up that left hip, keeping your shoulders square and down dog shoulders. Feel free to stay here, or if you would like to try wild thing, bend that right knee a little bit, shift your weight to your right hand as you begin to reach back with that left foot. As that left foot touches the floor, release that left arm, straighten out that right leg, coming into wild thing. Whether you're in wild thing or three-legged dog, meet up in side plank. One more breath in. And then on your exhale, lower that left hand, bring that left foot forward to runner's lunge. Lower that right knee, untuck those toes, coming back to runner's stretch. Grabbing those blocks if you need them. This will be our last hamstring stretch of the evening, so our yin poses are about to begin. And we'll be doing some hip openers and a back bend. So this is our last chance to get a good hamstring stretch. Couple more breaths. Notice your breath starting to calm down and become more equal. On your next exhale, bend that knee and bring that right leg forward and then turn your feet to a 45-degree angle, so duck feet essentially, coming into squats. So in squat, if your heels aren't on the floor, you can always roll up your mat or put a blanket under your heels, or you can grab a block and you can sit on the block. So those are some options so you're not just hanging out with your heels up. So in squat, let's just stay here for a moment, maybe about 5 breaths. Using your elbows to press your knees back. And perhaps taking a moment to reflect back on the intention that you set for today's class. You're welcome to stay here. If you'd like to add a twist, place your left hand down and bring your right arm up. Enjoy that nice back stretch. If you'd like to go a little deeper, you can bring that left arm to the left, past your left knee, so your left arm is now straight. I'll turn this way so you can see. So if your arms are like this, that'll take you a little bit deeper into the stretch. Some of you may like to bind, so your hands would reach behind you. Take hold, draw your upper shoulder back. Wherever you are in your squat twist, release, and then place that right hand down and bring the left arm up. Feel free to stay here, or you can walk that right hand toward the right, past the right knee, deepening your twist. You can stay here, or you can take your hands behind you, clasp your hands for a bind. One more breath in, and then release. And then come back to a seated position. Stretching out those legs, maybe shaking them out. Coming into Dandasana, stack pose. We're transitioning to the yin portion of the class. Feel free to turn off any lights that you like. You want to dim the lights. Maybe getting all your props close by. Maybe some layers since our body cools down during yin. And then swing your legs around you and come to your stomach. So you're on the mat, on your tummy, and imagine someone is pulling your right leg back a little bit, and then pulling your left leg back a little bit, creating a little bit more space in your lower back, and then rising up to your forearms. Your elbows are under your shoulders, coming into Sphinx pose. If this feels too intense on your back, you can always walk. You don't have to have your elbows square under your shoulders. You may want to just have them come a little bit more forward. As you can see, the more you walk your hands back, the more that's going to lift your spine. So in yin yoga, it's all about finding your first edge when you begin the pose. We'll be here for a couple minutes, and when there's one more minute, I'll let you know, so that if you want to rise up, straighten your arms into seal, you can try that. So right now, just find your first edge. And if your mind has started to wander, see if you can bring it back to the present moment, to your breath. Staying aware of sensations in your body. Allowing your body to take the lead. Your body is the pilot, directing you. Your body may be telling you to go a little deeper, or it may be telling you to ease back a little bit. We have about one more minute. So if it's beginning to feel too intense, like I said earlier, you can walk your hands forward a little bit. Or if you feel like you can go a little deeper, perhaps try straightening your arms, coming into seal. This yin pose is really healthy for returning our spine to its natural curve. So in some ways it feels a little intense, but you'll see afterwards that the after effect creates a really nice release. Be sure that if you are in seal that you're keeping that length across your collarbones so you're not sinking in your shoulders. Slowly and mindfully, if you're in seal, lower your forearms. If you're in Sphinx, begin to lift your hips up, coming into table. In table, perhaps take a moment to do a couple cat-cows. You might find it feeling particularly good to do cat, which is the counter pose, so doing the opposite direction of your spine. And feel free to wiggle around a little bit, finding more release. And then if you are in cat and your back is rounded, keep your back rounded as you shift back to child's pose. Keep your back rounded as long as you can, and that produces wonderful stretch in your back. And then once your bottom is on your heels, then you can release. Arms of your choice, you can have them extended out front, or you can do the classic child's pose. We'll be here for a few breaths. You're welcome to stay in child's pose. You could also transition to a wide-legged child's pose, or you can walk your hands forward as your hips start to rise. Straighten, lengthen out your spine, and then begin to lower your chest toward the mat for puppy pose or melting heart, as it's called in Yin Yoga. Just relax your head. If you are not in puppy pose, just feel free to enjoy child's pose for a few more breaths. If you are in puppy, enjoy this nice lengthening of the spine and opening of the chest. Feel free to sink a little deeper so that your chin rests on the mat. Then your chest draws closer to the mat. Drawing your navel towards your spine. On your next inhale, lift your hips up, tuck your toes, coming into downward facing dog. Inhale that right leg up. We're going to move into pigeon here. So bring that right leg forward, lower, bend your leg and lower it. First coming into swan. So from here, some of you may want to grab a sweatshirt or a blanket or a block. It's very common to need a little bit of support under that right hip so that your right hip is not floating. When our muscles are supported in Yin Yoga, that allows the stretch, so to speak, that we feel to bypass the muscles and go toward the connective tissues. So wherever you can use the support in Yin, that will aid your Yin experience. So some of you may want to stay in Swan. Some of you, your first edge may be down on your forearms. And this is one of those longer poses. We'll be here for about 4 minutes total. So in about 3 minutes, I'll let you know when there's 1 more minute, so that if you'd like to go a little bit deeper or you'd like to ease back, you have time to do that. Yin yoga is a wonderful opportunity to practice mindfulness. It's so easy to stay in a position like this and begin to put together your to-do list for the upcoming week. But it's more of a challenge to try to stay present with your breath and with the sensations that you're feeling in your right hip area. We have about 1 more minute if you'd like to go a little deeper or if you'd like to ease back. Slowly and mindfully begin to walk your hands back, tuck your left toes, coming into downward facing dog, just briefly. I find a nice release when I do a kind of a figure 8 with my right leg, and then returning to down dog, and then lifting that left leg up, and then bringing it through, bending that leg, placing your shin on the mat, coming to the left side, grabbing a prop if you need it to place under your left hip so it's not floating. So check in and see what you need to level your sacrum so you're not cockeyed. Find length in your spine, lifting up, finding that length across your collarbone. Feel free to stay here if this feels like your first edge, or if you feel like you can go a little deeper, you can come down to your forearms. Some of you, your first edge may be all the way down here. So feel free to go deeper than I am. Again, allowing your body to be your pilot. What does your left hip need from you right now? And let that be the guide. Check in with your breath and with your attention. You can always continue to practice Ujjayi breath, or even the pranayama that we did at the beginning of the class, the echo exhalation. Sometimes doing a pranayama during yin yoga, it keeps our mind on a single point, so it's meditative. Some people prefer a mantra during yin. So a mantra from Thich Nhat Hanh, a Buddhist monk, he says, as I breathe in, I notice that I breathe in. As I breathe out, I notice that I breathe out. So whatever method works for you, to stay present. Notice if there's any part of you that you can release a little bit. Maybe check in with your jaw, with your forehead. Is there any tension still residing in your body? And can you release that tension? We have 1 more minute, so if you'd like to ease up or go a little deeper, you can do that now. Yoga means to yoke, which is an old-fashioned word for union. So however you define that, it might be union with your higher self. It might be union with a supreme being. It might be psychological. It might be a union between mind, body, and breath. And the beautiful thing about yoga is that unity is always there. It's really that yoga helps us become aware of that unity. So in these quiet moments of yin yoga, see if you can find that union by letting go of all thoughts and allowing yourself to just yield and be. Slowly and mindfully begin to walk your hands up. Tuck your right toes, coming into downward facing dog. Just for a moment. If you'd like to do figure eights with that left leg, enjoying that after effect of that deep, long yin pose. Back and down dog. Come onto your hands and knees. And then swivel your legs out in front of you. Coming onto your back. From here, we're going to go into reclined twist. But if you would like to do a a brief bridge pose. That might feel good as a transition. Lifting your hips. Stay here as long as you like. If you'd like to go a little deeper, you can clasp your hands behind you, tuck your shoulders, go in a little bit deeper. You can stay here or you can lower and then hug your knees. And then coming into any version of recline twist. So the most simple version would just be to hug your knees with your right arm, left arm out to your left, and then twist to the right. Gaze out over your left arm, finding any sort of support that you might need under your right knees so that your left shoulder can stay on the mat. You can continue to hold on to the outside of your left leg or just release that right arm, whichever feels better for you. We'll be here for about a minute. Slowly unwind, bring your knees back. Taking hold of your knees, bringing your forehead towards your knees, just to reset your spine, and then lower your head back down. And then taking hold of your legs with your left arm, right arm goes out to the right as you twist with your legs to the left, grabbing any sort of support that you might need so that your right shoulder remains on the mat. We'll be here for a minute. Check in and see if you're gripping anywhere. Is there anything you can release and let go of? Perhaps it's not your body, but your mind. Is there something in your thoughts that you can let go of, that you can surrender in this moment? It could be something emotional. Allow yourselves to just let go. You're welcome to stay here a little bit longer if you like, or you can come back to neutral, take hold of your knees, draw your forehead towards your knees, and then you can find yourself in Shavasana, or you may want to take a quick little happy baby or a long happy baby, whatever your body is feeling right now. If you are in happy baby, really enjoy your lower back, your lumbar coming into contact with the mat. So see if you can Instead of that, having that little arch there, really feel that compression and enjoy that release in your lower back. And whenever you're ready, you may want to add a layer here, maybe socks or a sweatshirt. Make yourself comfortable. Once you're in Shavasana, do a body scan and see if you can release a little bit more. Perhaps allowing your ankles to roll out. Allowing your hips to open out. Perhaps rolling your shoulders back a little bit so more of the shoulder blade makes contact with the mat. Perhaps lifting your tailbone for a second and then lowering down so your tailbone goes down last so that you can find that length in your lower back. Relax your toes, your feet, and your legs, and your hips. Relax your fingers, and your hands, and your wrists, and your arms, and your shoulders. Relax your jaw, relax your tongue. Relax your eyelids. Allow your eyeballs just to sink back in their sockets. Relax your forehead. And if any thoughts begin to enter your mind, just watch them float away like a cloud. And just notice the big open blue sky in your mind's eye. Feel your body melt into the mat so your spirit can rise and become one with that blue sky. So that division between body and spirit, body and mind, are no more. Allowing your higher self just to be. Begin to bring your attention back to your breath. Lengthen your inhale and your exhale. Begin to bring movement back into your fingers and your toes. Perhaps bend your knees and hug your knees, rocking back and forth. Perhaps stretching your body nice and long, roll into your favorite side. When you feel ready, make your way back to your comfortable seated position. Just as a closing to Earth Day or Earth Day week, I found a beautiful quote by, again, second time I've quoted him tonight, Thich Nhat Hanh, the Buddhist monk. Regarding the earth, I found this really profound. He says, imagine that the earth is the tree and we are a leaf. The earth is not the environment, something outside of us that we need to care for. The earth is us. Taking care of the earth, we take care of ourselves. So again, it's a reminder of that connection that is there, that we're all connected. We only need to become aware of that. Bring your hands in prayer. We'll end class with one Om. You're welcome to just observe, but if you'd like to participate, everyone exhale, inhale, Om. The inner light in me honors and sees the inner light in each of you. Namaste.